Hello everyone. Today, our group going to present our group assignment project 2. Topic for our group assignment is sustainable development goals. The first slide of this presentations is shows of my member group name. So, I will start to present about the introductions of this assignment. The Sustainable Development Goals or SDG is a set of 17 objectives with 169 targets. SDG is universal agreement that were adopted by all 193 member states of the United Nations, created on 2015 by the expert consultations that were run from 2016 until 2030. They have three elements in order to achieve SDG goals, which is the first one is economic growth, second one is social inclusions, and the last one is environmental protection. Another ways to look at SDG, they have 5 Ps on how to look at SDG. The first one is people. This goal is to end poverty and hunger in all form and ensure equality and dignity. The second one's of way to look at SDG is prosperity. This goal to ensure prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. The third one is peace, is to foster peaceful, just and inclusive society. The fourth is partnerships. This goal is to implement the agenda through a solid global partnerships. And the last one is planet. This goal is to protect our planet, natural resources, and climate for future generations. That's all about the
Okay,
introduction.
the next part is a component of SDGs. There are 17 components of SDGs, which is the first one is no poverty. This is to end poverty. So everyone should have basic healthcare, security, and education. Goal number 2 is zero hunger, and this goal aims to end hunger and food access for everyone. Goal number 3 is good health and well-being. This is to ensure people live healthy lives and can cut child mortality and rise life expectancy. Number 4 is quality education. The United Nations want everyone to have access to inclusive, equitable, and quality education. Goal number 5 is gender equality. Gender equality is a human right and is vital for a peaceful, prosperous world. Goal number 6 is clean water and sanitation. This is to provide a clean water supply. Goal number 7 is affordable and clean energy. This target for 2030 is to make sure the universal access to affordable, modern, and reliable energy services. Goal number 8 is decent work and economic growth. This goal to aim for sustainable economic growth and decent employment for all. Goal number 9 is industry innovation and infrastructure. This involves building resilient infrastructure and fostering innovation. Goal number 10 is reduce inequalities. This goal aims to reduce inequalities within and between countries. Goal number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. The United Nations wants to increase affordable housing and make settlements inclusive and safe and sustainable. Goal number 12 is responsible consumption and production. This goal aims to foster eco-friendly production, reduce water, and boost recycling. Goal number 13 is climate action. Urgent action is needed by regulating emissions and promoting renewable energy. Goal number 14 is life below water. The aim is to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources. Goal number 15 is life on land. This is to stop degradation, and we must preserve forests, desert, and mountain ecosystems. Goal number 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. This aims the inclusive societies with strong institutions that provide justice for all. Lastly is goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. If all countries are to achieve the goals, international cooperation is vital. That's
So
all.
this is the benefit of Sustainable Development Goals. The first benefit is significantly reduce poverty. By implementing the Sustainable Development Goal, it will provide a greater scope of job opportunities to enhance the standard of living and achieve the equal right to the economic resource in the poverty regions. For example, access to basic service, ownership and control over land and so on. The second benefit is achieve food security and improve nutrition. By adopting the Sustainable Development Goal, it allows those hungry people access to the food and ensuring the food chain and infrastructure are resilient and to the disaster. It will also help to improve the nutritional quality as the integrated educational program on healthy nutrition and food knowledge distribution campaign being implemented. The third benefit is ensure healthy life and promote well-being for all ages. It promotes healthy life by lowering the health issue such as road accident, environment pollution, and illnesses. It also will provide the recreation facility and supported with healthy form of urban mobility to the old age populations. The fourth benefit is provide exclusive and quality education. As we know that the education is the key to end poverty and achieve progress in all aspects of sustainable development. By adopting the Sustainable Development Goal, it will help to reduce the impact of continuous population growth, which lead to the social economic impact. For example, the inequality like poverty, lack of nutrition, and gender inequality. Next, achieve better gender equality also is one of the benefits of Sustainable Development Goal. While it will help us to achieve significant progress towards women empowerment by improving the equitable access of elementary education in many regions. It will also help to eliminate prejudice and preventing violence against females, yet ensuring that they are protected to have the same privileges as men in the society. The sixth benefit is ensure the universal access to water and sanitation. The greater water supply and sanitation management will be required to maintain the human well-being while also conserving the ecosystem resilience. Besides that, it also helps to ensure and monitoring the water resources are acceptable and share fairly with the control of the local government. The last benefit of Sustainable Development Goal is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy. It utilizing a diverse range of resources in combination with the modern energy efficient technologies that resolve global climate change, environmentally friendly energy generation and demand, and also resilient energy infrastructure. Besides that, it also helps us to control the greenhouse gas emission resulted from the burning of fossil fuels and ensuring the more reliable and sustainable energy towards the nation.
Hello everyone. We can view the challenge of SDG from a big three sector, which is social issues, economic issues, and political issues. For the social issues, the community have lack of social inclusions in the SDG. Other than that, the thought of the society also influenced by the historical, cultural, and religious background, which causing them hard to accept the SDG. The widespread of urban and rural gaps also bring difficulties to the communities to deliver the information on the SDG. And the violent conflict within a country or between a country slowing down the process of SDG. For the economic issues, the global economic downturns, economic recessions, financial crisis, and trade war has reduced the financial availability for the United Nations to create activity to achieve the SDG. Other than that, the economic issue also raised the unemployment rates due to the collapsing of the companies from the economic downturns. When the people have no condition on the economy, they refuse to give extra collaborations on the SDG. For the political issues, there is lack of political will on the community and the governments to achieve the SDG, which provide difficulty to the United Nations to generate activities to achieve SDGs. While for the policy coherence, the SDG involve a wide range of sectors which require political, social, and economic collaborations. And this is very difficult for the United Nations to gather them together. Other than these three big sectors, there's some small sectors that challenging the SDG. For the environmental issue, there's climate change due to the high emission of carbon dioxide. This emission of carbon dioxide can causing forest fire, dry lands, and acid rains. Then, other than the emission of carbon dioxide, the illegal discharge of sewage from the company also causing a degradation of water, and this can bring harms to the aquatic flora and fauna, which further impact on the biodiversity loss to the nature. For the food crisis, the growing populations causing a higher demand on the food, while the supply growing with a rate lower than the demand. Other than that, the locust plague and coronavirus also destroy the supply chain and agricultural product, which bring difficulty to the United Nations to eliminate the food crisis. For the energy crisis, the current structure of the society are still heavily dependent on the non-renewable energy. This is because the clean energy development is still not made sure to replace the non-renewable energy. And for effective data collections, the SDG involve a wide and big amount of data, and some of the poor country or underdeveloped country, they are facing data inadequate, which causing the United Nations hard to estimate the future data of the country. Also, the challenge of SDG is criticized by the professional on the unrealistic targets, which the SDG is too aspirational and unachievable. This is because the SDG involve a large number and wide scope, and some of the goals such as well-being is vague and immeasurable. Last but not least, for the challenge of the SDG is the lack of effective leadership. The leadership is very important in the implementations of activity or communications or connection and cross-field communications. There's a very strong demand on the leadership skill from all the fields, which bring a challenge to the United Nations. since the supply of this leadership skill is not enough in around the world.
The first recommendation is management approach. From the management perspective, all the management around the nation should try to understand the concerns and problem of sustainable development that affecting the organization external environment, the sustainable development goals, as well as the challenges they face in terms of sustainable development should be considered as a part of a larger examination of the external environment that influence the organization ability to generate value. On top of that, the organizations should examine the external environment when defining strategy, updating the business model in order to analyze short and long-term challenges and vulnerables. Next is about the terms of strategy. Strategies in this context represent as a important role in contributing to the sustainable development goals in a way that create long-term benefits. In that case, organization can devise a strategies in terms of business model to promote the SDG. With their business model, organization should spell forth their strategy aim and initiatives to promote relevant and meaningful SDG. This should include strategies for allocating resources as well as precious, measurable short and long-term objectives. Followed by the recommendation in terms of governance. Governance is also important in this case, as a good governance of organization would achieve a better result for the sustainable development goals. Generally, integrated thinking, interconnectivity, and governance should all be developed by the organization. In that case, organizations should link their strategy to variations in the external environment, such as shifting social expectations and resource constraints. The following recommendation will be in the terms of performance and targets. The relationship between the organization's visions and goals and its approaches to sustainable development is essential, and organizations should try to start with preparing the report in order to create value and thus able to reflect their contribution towards the sustainable development goals, because it can measure the performance and thus setting suitable targets for the organization effectively. Lastly, the recommendation on finance. To make sustainable development goals successful, long-term investment in lower income nations, especially in the early stage market development, should be encouraged with various incentives, especially those products and services that supporting the SDG. If the SDGs are to be achieved, the government should encourage an integrated growth strategies, mobilize creative source of finance, and phase out involvement in unsustainable sectors. That's all from us. Thank you.